G'day, my name's Sebastian and I'm a bit of a DIY novice. I used to be a video editor, I used to work in television, and I decided that I'd give furniture making a go and have decided to do it full time. So watch me trying to work it all out. This is actually my workshop that I built. There's a little shed, a little tin shed, and then I just put a skin on the inside, it's all insulated. And this is where I'm going to do most of my work. Cool. Doing DIY around the house was pretty easy. I had this copper pipe that I had to remove and have to be safe. I used a multi-tool to cut it out, very loud, and some calipers to measure that hole. Calipers are really useful just to get a measurement, but a little bit hard to use sometimes. And it was to basically shove this plastic thing in, and I used some caulking and mashed it all together, so it blocked it off. It doesn't look great, but it works. So today's challenge, let's get the door handle on. I've put one lock in here, but unfortunately I've put waterproofing along the edge. It's probably not the best way. So I've got to take a bit of this waterproofing off because it's catching on the other door, which also opens out. But I've also got to put a handle on here. Need to get the door open. So one of the things about putting door handles on that I've figured out is that they all have these really unique ways of going together. You can buy so many different types of door handles. And this particular one has a little button on the side. And the little key goes into the hole. Push the hole in and then you can basically take apart the whole lock. I've got a 46 millimeter hole saw. I do actually have a 54 millimeter hole saw, which is what the instructions call for, but I found that, and this is an interesting thing, when you cut one of these holes, if you use a bigger hole saw like this is the 54 millimeter, you can see that there's a very small gap around the whole thing, and that's going up against your door. And if it's not watertight, then you're going to get water that comes in there. Whereas with this is smaller. This is basically between, this will go, see there, once I've cut it in here, it's going to have a greater surface area, and then I can put like a rubber seal in there, because I didn't do it on the deadbolt, and now it's a big ugly mess. Well, one of the problems with filming in this heat, because trust me, it's pretty hot, is the camera overheats. So I've now just got to turn the camera around. Because I'm cutting through butyl tape, moisture barrier, and a fair amount of wood, I'm actually going to wear a mask, and mainly because the amount of chemicals that come off this, just cutting through steel and then cutting through wood. This has got arsenic, well, it probably has traces of arsenic in it. It's treated, that's why it's pink. So it's always a good idea to wear a mask, and it's always a good idea to wear hearing protection. Another thing that I use quite often, some goggles. So being suited up like this is actually, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. sometimes that happens. So yeah, there's pretty much no way that I can get that back in there without screwing the little set screw in there to buggery. So simple thing is get the pilot hole drilled and then just use this. I'll tighten this back up and use this as a guide to get through the hole. I've got to go through metal, so that's going to be tricky. Well, here we go. We've finally finished the handle. This is actually quite a few months later, but I've actually had a chance to get it. Once I've put the two things together, there was a lot of finickiness with the bolts. I ended up trying to find longer ones. I couldn't. But anyway, I got it in, had to cut it a little bit of a relief in here. Thankfully, this locks, but the whole door is actually completely out of whack. It's because it's got really low, small hinges. Anyway, that's for another time. I'm going to be going, and I'll see you next time. I didn't actually go anywhere.